So I noticed a couple of names whenever they crop up from the European divisions, and I know that Shadi's been lap being, or he is lap being. He's been around some of those rosters in the past, and you know he wasn't exactly like a name to light up the servers in Europe, but he caught eyes a couple of times. So if he's coming to this region and becoming a great rifler, then all respect to him. But you are right about the experience factor. Like even the more Aussie contingent on SemperFi, like Addict, Hazr, Savage, these are names that even the international guys we're very familiar with, especially the likes of Savage. So I'm looking forward to seeing how well Mindfreak will just try and manage this, because it should be a bit of a blowout, but if they can at least make it look competitive, then I think they can at least walk out with something out in this series.
Yes, yeah, I mean, that'll be the big takeaway, right? And I don't want to sort of undersell Mindfreak. I do think that there's something there. I think this is a roster that can get a little bit of work done, definitely. It's just that I obviously have so much respect for SemperFi as a lineup that I don't really see any team in Oceania. You know, I would be talking about any team versing SemperFi in the same way that I'm talking about Mindfreak right now. The only exception maybe would be Rooster, but even then, Rooster have kind of had their issues of late, and it seems like maybe that might not be a team going forward. I don't know if you've seen the Thunder Down Under announcement that came out a couple of days ago. Look, we'll see what all happens with that. If that's true, then it looks like it's going to be dark days, I suppose, going forward for Rooster. But yeah, certainly going to be tough for anybody going up against SemperFi. So I don't want to, rag on Mindfreak too hard, and I do hope we get a competitive series out from them here. They've got some nice up-and-coming individuals. Swersey and DPR and Drox have all kind of been putting in the hard yards for quite a while now, and starting to, I'd say, make inroads towards the top level of Oceanic Counter-Strike. And then obviously Zune a little bit fresher, and Tux has been around forever. He's about as old as I am, if not maybe even older, when it comes to Counter-Strike in Oceania, which is certainly saying something. There's not too many players that have been around longer than the two of us, unfortunately, anymore. But we'll get underway with the pistol here and see how things go. SemperFi to kick things off here on the CT side. And as they do tend to, looking to get aggressive.
In towards that mid-access, a good kill for hazr to kick things off, but Molotov to burn Keen from beyond the more contact positions of SemperFi. Back away from that mid-access and will fall back towards CT. He's been left undefended by this mid-stack, so you will leave Addict there on defensive. Him tagged at half HP, might need some backup if they do decide to make the moves. Now slowing it down on Mindfreak though, so a bit of a moment to breathe.
Yeah, more than a moment, it would seem. Savage having a little bit of a look outside of B at the moment. He's quite happy with the information that he's getting, and so that's going to leave the rest of SemperFi up to their own devices over toward A. No over-rotation coming through here from the CT side.
Oh, so slow and quiet. They put that smoke down towards the A site cross, but that's all just a ruse there to draw attention away. They are still going into access towards short, and Tux will be able to catch hazr getting overly aggressive. Now, SemperFi going to have to adjust against this access. Headshots coming in for Shady. He's good at least for one kill or two. In fact, Addict also in support. And it all comes undone for the T's side. Indeed, SemperFi with the opening pistol win.
Yeah, very sharp stuff again. Like I said, Shady is going to be someone to keep an eye on in this matchup in particular. Usually pretty sharp individual, and that's a very nice pistol round to start things off. Obviously, good assistance in there as well from Addict. They're able to pull back the numbers disadvantage for SemperFi and grab that pistol round. Mindfreak getting underway with absolutely nothing in round two. Not even an upgraded pistol in sight.
Yeah, no bomb plant bonus and not really a lot of cash to invest in the first place. So it makes more sense to just eco this and go into the next with a strong rifle buy. You sneak anything out of this round, and that'll be even more positive. Alternatively, you could feed yourself into SMGs, and that's where things start to get really messy with the economy state. Buzzing on the first to fall, the MP9 of Addict. Spread out a Mindfreak. I'd like to see them pack and group together and try something as a unit. Prioritize that bomb plant bonus, if nothing else, in this kind of a round. It will eventually start to formulate up in top mid, but from range, the fight's coming from Savage. Two kills out of it. Third one even comes out. And the SMG of Addict there to get a little bit extra bonus kill count. Upgrade back to that rifle as well. So 2-0 start. Here come the guns for Mindfreak.
Yeah, but 2 very comfortable rounds so far for SemperFi. I'll love the way that one has played out. Obviously, Savage going down, but even a kill or 2 coming out of the MP9 there for Addict, and not too much lost in it. It's going to be a very healthy economy going forward for SemperFi. First gun round, though, 5 rifles for Mindfreak. See what they opt to do. Nothing too quick to start it off. No contest over toward long. They do have DPR making some moves down through lower. It's going to be a late long take by the looks of things.
2 players to mid on the CT side. Good flashbang forcing one player to go blind. Shady's not revealed though. Backs will be turned. Crossfire can lock in and Shady can get 2 kills out of it. Swerzian can trade it back, however, and should be on for a double if he can quick burst to the head. And still holding and stalling for time. That allows another player to come up. That's Savage back over towards long. Tagged up quite a bit, but he does take Tux out. So man advantage maintained, as well as 5 HP for Swerzian to get that double. So 3-on-2 with all sorts of favoritism towards SemperFi. One should have also been seen as well in that exchange. Must be a little bit caught off guard there for Addict. The DPR a chance, but he can't quite finish off the job. Addict actually gets away with no damage done towards him. And Swerzian, a very impossible clutch to maintain here.
Yeah, you would say so, with 5 HP to his name. We're already starting to see that sort of individual firepower difference in the server at the moment. I think you can kind of get my point, right? When we're seeing those kinds of fights, right? You talk about Addict walking away from that without taking any damage. You know, that's probably not ideal as far as Mindfreak is concerned. 3-0 and another good round for SemperFi. 3 guns alive. The money's going to be maintaining its healthy state. And once again, Mindfreak are going to have to be on a bit of an eco here. It'll be pistol and armor for Zune and DPR. And an upgraded pistol for Tux and Drox, but really not a whole lot to write home about here for Mindfreak. And Keen's on the AWP now as well, so that will compound the issues, you'd think.
Well, easy pickings against the half-life for Shady again, so yeah, issues. A lot more rife than even what I might have expected. Going to say at least the economy state with the loss bonuses should start to stack up and you can start to see that money stabilize to some more buys, but not contest even held with the upgrade pistol rounds, and Shady's making light work of this. 4K onto the ace. This last man just pinned into a corner. There's no way out for him. Drox forwarded a HE, and indeed it is a full-blown ace for Shady. Stellar start for SemperFi, as you would expect, and Mindfreak. I mean, look, I won't take too much away from them because it was pistols, but I would have hoped for at least a trade or something out of them. The fact that they're getting nothing out of these lower buy rounds, it isn't a very encouraging sign for me again. Yeah, it me somewhat.
Yeah, look, I think you're starting to come around to what I've been setting up for this entire series. We've only seen the four rounds, and you know how many kills have we actually got out of Mindfreak so far? It's pretty grim. I think it's what, 5 kills in 4 rounds, and obviously one of those guns is one of those rounds rather has been a gun round. You know, it's been a bit of a whitewash so far. SemperFi looking real good here. Hopefully Mindfreak can make it a little bit more difficult. They're back in the buyer's club. This mid push from Addict is an interesting one. He's receiving a lot of assisting util from the CTs, but eventually able to dig Tux out. So again, like I said, all that util makes that possible. The smoke at lower dark, the flashes, the grenades that were keeping that push at bay from Mindfreak allows Addict back out to safety. Now we have a 5-on-4, and it's 3 very heavily tagged players on the side of Mindfreak.
And took HEs down to that lower tunnels. I think DPR took an engagement. He's going to take an engagement there and lose it. Addict with 2 more kills. Hazard will trade back in the refrag of Drox, and the last man left is Zune in a 1-on-4. Half HP, bomb not with him, and dead to rights. That's 4 alive for the CT side, and AK's saved on 3 players as well, so firepower just continuing to build up by SemperFi. And you can just see the difference in the way that they're playing. Again, you are right with like the fact that SemperFi are just a significantly better team in terms of just their individual quality compared to the rest of the scene. It's nothing to do with Mindfreak. Even the setup towards mid with the push forward of Addict, like Savage was covering him from short. That's something that I see a lot of European teams like not even do well themselves, to not cover that lower tunnels position while an aggressive player is maintained on Dust2. doing so well to keep Mindfreak at bay. You can see them playing a little bit scared of that angle. Now our hero Galil's coming in for the T side to try and get something, anything out in this follow-up round. At least the money will stabilize again to another buy. But you can just see opening frags, setups, drops, take to 21 of the initial engagements of the utility. Mindfreak having a bit of a mare here in this map.
Oh, they're going to have to give it a crack here up short. Not too sure how they're going to get in. The grenade going to do a chunk of damage. They've got 2 smokes, so they can smoke their way to A, but realistically speaking, there's more than enough util to keep them at bay on the behalf of SemperFi. And touching on your point there about how SemperFi kind of works together and how much cleaner they look than a lot of these teams in Oceania is one thing that I like about SemperFi is they've got 2 very established duos in the sense that, Keen and Shady obviously very familiar with one another. And then Hazr and Addict, I think in particular, when you see Hazr and Addict playing a 2vx or holding a site together, you kind of just see the experience that those 2 have playing as a duo because they have played together for such a long time. And these guys just play off of each other so nicely. And again, there is that individual firepower on display. Shady making short work of that push up onto the A site. And it's kind of just like he's in an aim prac server. He's just back and forth, easy as you like, headshots to go. And that is another round for SemperFi.
Making these ones look clean and simple. 6-0. Tactical pause as well for Mindfreak because you need to come up with an answer soon. You may be about to lose the half in the next round. But what can you do? Just the staunch contrast. Quality in the SemperFi side. Can't see many easy answers here. I don't know. I mean, there's usually a point where I'd say, right, maybe you want to try play a little bit slower, or maybe you want to pick up the pace and try get in their faces early. I just don't see any of those really working out right now for the Mindfreak camp. There's so much firepower in the weapon setups. Some of I haven't even died that much, like 6 deaths across the entire board.
Yep. It's rough. Well, guns are back out again for Mindfreak. This time they're allowed to take that space in middle, a little bit more of a Hail Mary kind of around there. Swerzian just charging his way down. Gets the better of Addict this time around. So an opening pick for Mindfreak, and that's a start. But they're going to have to convert this round, otherwise it will continue to snowball against them.
On a positive foot. SemperFi adjusting away from all that mid-access though, now regressing towards short for 3 of the individuals, Keen, Shady and Savage. Orp involved and all. The boost up for Savage's AK will try to look above that smoke. Might even boost the secondary rifle on top of him. 2 players up on that box. No one's seen until finally the smoke will clear. They look players down towards this lower tunnel. Savage good for 1. The trade from Swerzian is still good to hold the advantage for Mindfreak. 4-3 for now. Short access and setup have to be dismantled on the C2 side. Start to adjust as well back towards B. Still an option for the T side line, although with that bomb outside the house, A target is once again going to be the focus.
Well, patience a virtue for the SemperFi players. Gone for the solo holds, essentially, and Shady's done a good job of that in the middle. Keen following suit over towards the A side. He'll get that first pick onto Tux. He calls for the assistance, but doesn't need it. Shady hiding behind that smoke. Eventually is going to have to come into play, but Keen's already done so much work that this has put it into an unwinnable position for DPR. Bomb was dropped on long, and another round successful for SemperFi. This one a little bit closer as far as Mindfreak were concerned, but the individuals are, like I said, just stepping up and doing what they need to do on that SemperFi side of the coin. 7-0, and Shady's 14-1.
Yeah, it's pretty monstrous scoreline. I mean, you mentioned, or well, frag line, I guess you could say. I mean, you mentioned earlier that he's probably one of the best riflers in the region, and you can see it. You can very clearly see it. I mean, even Keen in that last round, like probably the most pressure we've seen applied by Mindfreak, and that Orb just still able to isolate and pick and hold his nerve constantly. And even now, taking aggression into that suicide position where Swerzian's going to get legged down. M4 and Addict will pick up a kill onto Drox. And the AWP just keeps fighting. Swerzian eventually found a 5-on-3 gained just within the first 25 seconds of the round. Hazard with 2 lined up and 2 knocked down. Triple almost secured, but Tux is in a 1v5. No way he wins this, unfortunately. 8-0 for SemperFi. It just gets better and better for the CTs.
Yeah, this is looking like it's going to be a really, really rough day at the office for Mindfreak. SemperFi are looking super locked in. And can you blame them? You know, I think they are kind of coming back with a vengeance after having missed out on that Extremes LAN slot. Again, they lost that on land to Rooster a couple of weeks ago. Maybe more than a couple of weeks ago. It's probably about a month ago now. And ever since then, and especially since they've been able to now have a bit of time to integrate hazr and Addict into this lineup, they have started to look better and better. And the fact that they've won back-to-back ECL Cups, they're on for their potential 3rd here. I think they're really, really gunning for this ESL Pro League slot because they know how valuable that's going to be for them going forward. Very unlikely that you're going to get anywhere out of Oceania unless you pick up one of these few qualifier slots that let you go and play internationally, and then you can start to get some VRS going. So they've got their sights set on the next major. Not this current one coming, but the one at the start of next year. And this is where they have to sow those seeds. They are doing a pretty good job of it here, at least domestically in Oceania. Another solid hold from them. Mid and B pressured by Mindfreak, but to no avail, and 9-0 is the score. Mindfreak are continually getting swept aside.
Indeed they are. This is one of those situations where you just can't really come up with any answers. I mean, from an analyst perspective, you sit back and you go, right, is there anything that they can do to try and force out these fights to be able to maintain a better strategy or a better tactic that might, you know, curveball their way into a round or two? And they just, it is so little to go off of. SemperFi at this point, I would almost guarantee them making it into Pro League off the back of the ESL Challenger League playoffs. 2-for-1 trades in towards mid and long access. Keen again with that AWP aggression. Oh, almost land leg shot onto Zoom. I'm surprised he didn't hit it. It was a bit of a tight angle though, so give at least a little bit of leeway. 4-on-3 regardless, and the AWP might be low, but look at the backstab coming in from Savage. He's about to see the bomb, and he's about to see players coming out of Longhouse. He's about to suppress the entire round for SemperFi. Being smart about it though, Incendiary back and fall away to cover, because if he goes down then they lose that advantage.
Yeah, DPR was able to get out in front of that Incendiary, so he's been able to take a little bit of space here. Savage still trying to cause a little bit of a problem and does very nearly finish off Drox. That's a missed shot from Keen. And that opens the round up a little bit for Mindfreak, particularly with this flank coming in from Zune. They are waiting patiently for him to strike, but so far he has not been given anything. Keen for the moment safe up on short. hazr has gone into upper dark. Have a little bit of a look here, but it looks like hazr will get caught off guard here by Zune. And that again will be the opening in the round that Mindfreak might be able to take advantage of to convert into their thirst.
For one situation where SemperFi are on the back foot, or low and not ideal weapon for a retake either. Addict is at least close. They've got some utility on Keen that you can potentially set him up with. Smoke towards tunnels. Flashbang over the wall. Suppression, the Molotovs are there though for the Mindfreak camp.
They're going to go for it.
No, shut down by Zoom, quickly popping his head up. Headshot gained. Keen with
that'll be that.
Onto the AWP, but probably just not to give it away towards the T side line at the most. I mean, they've got so much cash. I'm not surprised they tried to go for some sort of Hail Mary retake. In the end, it does work out for Mindfreak, so that's a little bit of a positive. Because, look, they need those at this stage.
They need something, don't they? Oh, and he's not even been able to keep the AWP alive either. So that's not worked out for Keen. Might as well have gone for it in the end. But either way, yeah, plenty of money. Like you said, kind of irrelevant whether or not that AWP survives. Going to be able to buy the half out here as SemperFi and Mindfreak still trying to claw their way up to 3. Best case scenario, they're looking for a 9-3 half on their map pick. It's just not really where you want to be at all. No AWP again for Mindfreak. Going AWPless for an entire half on Dust2, even if it is on the T side, is, I'm sure, not part of the plan.
Some double ops available for SemperFi on the contrary. Keen and Addict with theirs. One towards A, one holding out the B tunnels. That looks a lot of emphasis towards mid and the A bomb site, which actually is a good thing for them because it's when Mindfreak are leaning in. They've gone aggressive in the early round to get up to short access. Keen's AWP is trying to spot from that short entryway. Maybe about to see players. A rifle has joined Addict for the push into the tunnels. Hazr is caught by Zune. Shot missed from Addict. They have to smoke off and fall back because they have lost the advantage here.
Oh, Keen, he's just going to keep having a look. He's a very aggressive player, likes to continue to repeat these angles, and Swerzian falls right into that trap. Might not have been expecting Keen to be there still. And so numbers disadvantage once again for Mindfreak, a familiar position they find themselves in. Savage forward here. Could give up an isolated duel and does kind of end up going 1-for-1. Meanwhile, Keen having dropped and now Zune starting to activate. Starts to make this round look doable. We'll see what shadiy can do about it though. Again, 15-2. If anyone's going to clutch it, it would be him, but DPR takes his head off. And Mindfreak are having a late half resurgence that unfortunately has probably come a little bit too little too late, but it is something.
Let's go take it round at a time if you want to formulate a comeback. And there will have to be a comeback from Mindfreak when you're down 9-0. Keen has struck first again, though. He's shut down effectively on that short access in the previous round. This time in mid, finding Swerzian through the doorway. No smokes were there to cover off the T-side line. He was looking down towards suicide. The rest of the team is trying to enter into the long house and long corner. 3 players to deal with, one of which at car. Shady's not affected by that Molotov. It looked like he should have been. But just behind that car, might assume that it's clear. The smoke in the way will stall them out, though. No one's seen crossing, no one's seen peeking. Shady's just going to wait this one out, as will Mindfreak.
Pretty scary setup here with Keen and shadiy holding long. Plus you've got hazr ready to swing if necessary as well, and shadiy bides his time nicely for a double. hazr will be forced away by that Molotov, but really, what are you going to do here as Tux and DPR? You've lost all semblance of map control. You've got 50 seconds to try to recover this round in a 4-on-2. It's looking like double digits will be taken by SemperFi toward the back end of this half.
Got some units on the smoke across, try to get towards the bomb site, but there's players on short access, and as we push through that smoke with flashbang in, kill found on the first transfer, the second is wonderfully placed. 10-2, indeed a late half resurgence from Mindfreak, but I don't think it's enough. Feels more like a last gasp, and to the break. SemperFi in full control of this first map. Mindfreak are going to need a miracle if they want to bring this back on their pick of Dust2. The 10-2 half that SemperFi now have to work with going into their T side, and I have a feeling that's going to be wrapped up in just the first 3 rounds. Pistol is pretty much required for Mindfreak if they want to hold on to some sort of lifeline. Otherwise, we may be as good as done.
Yeah, you can say that again. It's a pretty important one for Mindfreak. Got one set of dualies there for Swerzian. It looks like they're going to try and hold on to a bit of presence in middle, which is exactly where SemperFi are headed. Quick flash is going to go over the top to allow them up onto short. And now is when the floodgates open. SemperFi starting to move quickly up long. It is going to be a 2-pronged offense in toward that A site. Shady, hazr striking first. And I imagine they'll probably be striking last as well. Mindfreak, though, do pull back a couple. So 2 on 3 for the post plan. Swerzian hits himself a nice headshot there onto hazr. Looks for another one. Hasn't quite found its mark, which will leave DPR alone, and Addict makes short work of it. So it is indeed SemperFi that get the last laugh in the pistol round. 11-2, and that is the one hope in this map. Pretty much gone for Mindfreak.
You could just see Swerzian doing all that he could to hang on there. Like, very good efforts from the Turk. But not to be in the end, just too much firepower, too much accuracy. You could just see how quickly those kills are going the way of SemperFi. And it's just when you're dealing with that kind of pace and that kind of accuracy, like you really haven't got a lot of hope at that point. And that has been that point for the entirety of this map, unfortunately. Mindfreak have to force into the second round. No ecoing for rifles this time, otherwise you'll be asking for a full-on 10-round in a row streak to bring it back to overtime. To be fair, if you lose this round anyway, it doesn't give you too much hope itself. At least Zune kicks things off. 5-7 close against Shady. A Danger Man taken out of the fold early. SMG for Swerzian gets a little bit of a better chance as well at the Longhouse. 2 players extremely low HP for SemperFi. So actually, Mindfreak may find the steal they're looking for here. It really all rests on Keen.
I think SemperFi are going to be too mad about the fact that this round relies on Keen. He's usually pretty handy. There's a good shot from him. Savage gets one on the drops as well. Well, you talked about it being all on the shoulders of Keen, and he's been given a lot of noise there by Zune, but luckily Tux is able to get it done. Oh, it was a bit too close for comfort for Mindfreak. I thought Keen was going to get it over the line, but we will go maybe at least another couple of rounds as a result.
Would have been such a SemperFi thing for him to take that clutch though. Like, borderline of 1 and 4. Going down to 1 man alive, and that's Scout. Another lifeline found by Mindfreak, and now we can start focusing on that comeback. We can start focusing on this CT side return. Obviously, still a very long way away from being a true return. Like I say, just round by round, bit by bit. Step by step. Tech9s and Deagles pulled out on the SemperFi side. You should be able to make light work of it. You've got the automatics on the Mindfreak camp. Any damage output by the T's, however, will be positive to their nature. They're going short to A. Bomb plant may be possible here. Utility will be in the way. And they can't seem to stop them without the direct engagement. So I'm going to fall back to passive. Kill for hazr is good against the first player. Scout headshot not landing from range. The Zune can take hazr down. Drop that bomb over a ramp. So that will pretty much confirm that no bomb plant bonus will come in for the T side.
You would suspect so, but let's see what Shady can do with the Deagle first. Keen's going to be taken down in that meanwhile, and a few Deagle shots ringing out, but only the one successful onto Tux. Savage is going to hope that he's going to be able to do a little bit more economic damage there, but it's not really going to come through for him. So 11-4, and Mindfreak have stabilized a little bit. Should get themselves a freebie around here. There won't be much of an investment from SemperFi. So Mindfreak going to start to make that scoreline look a little bit more acceptable, but there is a long way to go.
There's 7 rounds in particular. Specific about it. Capture reduced to 6 with this round, and the Eagles Tech9 this time unsupported by Kevlar or Utility. And got 2 kills out of the last round, so they can follow up with a kill or 2 out of this one, maybe even 3, then you could reset them permanently and leave nothing in the winning round to play with. Mindfreak still going to get the 2 kills out of mid, however, so no concerns. The rifle is involved. Tux and Swerzian with a double. And any potential for damage seems to come undone now for SemperFi.
Oh, hazr still going to have a crack, and there's a headshot, which is going to mean an M4 upgrade for him as well. Swerzian continuing to take that fight into middle. Looking to maybe bite off a little more than he can chew, but Savage and hazr not so interested in that particular engagement. Going to start to move their way in the direction of the A side. They've got a bit of time to work with here, but Zoon will take them both down, and so 11-5 is now the score. SemperFi are going to get back into the buyers club here and continue on their merry way, you'd expect, but Mindfreak looking a little more comfortable now that they're on that CT side at least.
Worked the early half in their favour. At least you can say that much for them. Weapons are out for SemperFi. Still 3 Galils available to them. It's not the most ideal setup and something that could be, again, favourable to the Mindfreak camp, and they need all the favouritism they can get. Very passive on the T side line of engagement, outside a longhouse. Into tunnels, yes, but only so far as upper. No one dipping down lower. Out bomb of Keen playing protected to watch for short access. I mean, no one's really looking to engage from either side at this point. Mindfreak will start to take some long control and look to the house entrance. But outside of that, there's just no movement.
A very patient round. Only a minute left on the clock. So half your round gone as Mindfreak and only now really starting to explore their way in toward mid. Haven't got any short control at all. But that's coming in due time. The only issue is that in that meanwhile, Mindfreak having a little bit of a look there into long doors. SemperFi starting to run out of options. They've got 35 seconds left on the clock here. And it kind of just looks like they're going to be forced to go for a B hit, a late B hit. And maybe Shady floating around to cut off rotates in middle. But to expect to get out on a B at a time like this, well, it could be difficult. DPR up close and personal with the MP9. He's going to get himself 2, and that's exactly what you'd expect. It's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. Nice quick rotate from Drox, but Shady's still alive, means it's a round that's potential. 7 seconds though for the bomb plant means he has to force it down, and Zoon gets there in time to shut it down. Mindfreak have another. I feel like SemperFi were kind of their own worst enemies in that round.
And that time run down too far. As you're pointing out, difficult to break into that B bomb site when you bottleneck like that. The gap's starting to become a bit more manageable now for Mindfreak. 5 to the good still for SemperFi. Eagles, Tech 9s. On paper, should be another round for the Mindfreak side. Starting to have some legs around this comeback. Still in a dangerous position, though. One good round for SemperFi gets them on map point. At least the money's relatively well built for the CTs. Access to short for all five individuals. And was the A-bomb site rather quickly. Tux set with the AWP, smoked off, blinded. Fallen away from Addict. Will get picked up by a quick drop in. hazr, good for traded back, and bomb site now been secured. AK can deal with hazr. The bomb plant, however, will bonus up the buy in the next, which may be at least a minimum marker for what they're getting for. Tux, fantastic AWP sequence in the double. Only Savage left to try and pick up some exits. Not going to happen for him. 4 alive for Mindfreak. 11-7 now. 4 buy inbound from SemperFi.
Yeah, but Mindfreak are actually starting to look like a bit of a threat now. They were very toothless on that T side. Like you've just said, though, Tuck's nice little sequence there with the orb. Zune has had a couple of nice rounds here with the AK. Swerzian coming online. Mindfreak, I wouldn't say are in the position to think about winning this map just yet, but at least they're making SemperFi work for it. See what Keen's going to get up to. He's got a nice spawn for mid. He can find himself a pick through the doors. I'm sure he's going to go for it. Hasn't seen anything as of yet, so no success this time around.
Once again, they are forming up to no contact. This setup from the Mindfreak camp. Opting against the early kills. Or better defensive lines, and it's starting to come together for them. The AWP does peek in from Tux and land a leg onto Keen, so that's a positive start in the AWP v AWP battle. Damage, no kill just yet. AK of Savage trying to find a fight back over to that boost, unable to engage upon the player or get any damage being done towards the CT side. Bomb's not there with them, so it's not going to be committance just yet. The rotation's back towards mid. Mace trying to set up a split towards long and continue to play that A-bomb side.
Solid City wins the race seems to be the name of the game for SemperFi. Got Zune waiting on this long line. And he's got a bit of backup as well. Tux has a flash if necessary. But this is the crucial fight. Zune around the corner. Here comes the flash. And he's done really nicely. What a spray transfer from Zune. Drox gets himself on as well. And this is starting to get a little bit awkward, dare I say, for SemperFi.
I mean, you can dare to say more because it's a bona fide comeback right now for Mindfreak. Keen's got to save his AWP. He'll do so at least on that front, but Mindfreak down 11-2 at one point. 9-0 was the best advantage that we saw in the first half, but in the second half, Zune has really come online. I know he started like 0-9 at a certain point. Now top fragging for his team. Shadiy's impact, well, the numbers are there. It seems to have dipped off in this T side. He's been marked and dealt with. I think the pacing's a little bit too slow for SemperFi. Money is going to start to become an issue now. There's a Tech 9 available for Savage. Keen's AWP can at least maintain play with 3 more AKs, and he'll try and take first contact out to that B bomb site. With there being an opening, though, is there any opportunity presenting? There is a player close looking at the position. Crack angle's not taken. Keen will just have to hold it.
Yeah, Shadiy going to try and work his way out in toward middle there. Could be a little bit of an angle for him to get up into B through the window, but he's been spotted out by DPR. And again, it seems like Mindfreak are all over SemperFi's T side at the moment. And there's just no opening. And these rounds are starting to look better and better. I mean, am I at the point now where I'm starting to say this feels doable for Mindfreak?
I am. It's very doable now. Streak bolstered. Money should be in a bit of a state now for the SemperFi side unless they get a bomb plan out of the round, which seems unlikely. Addict will finally force out a fight in from the mid doorway. The AWPer still across the CT, gonna get smoked off. Okay, that's a drive-by, a 2v2. And SemperFi continue to surprise with that kill. They read the A site is open, they can get a plant out of this. And Swerzian low, DPR tagged, so hazr and Addict to be fair. Now it's a round that could be doable by both sides here.
Yeah, see, this is the danger of SemperFi just when you think they're out of it. The dynamic duo of hazr and Addict, I mentioned them earlier. The coordination that these two have, the cohesion in these 2vx situations. I reckon they've got this one covered. Nade's going to go over the top here. It might do a bit of a tickle to hazr, but he's totally happy to just stay tucked. Leave the rest of the job up to Addict. If he can get even one, that's going to be more than enough. Swerzian down, and that is pretty much the round done and dusted once again. hazr and Addict are going to be the driving force behind a clutch for SemperFi. They get to 12, and just as it's starting to look doable for Mindfreak, that dream is taken away from them.
Oh, what a magical comeback it looked to be, but I think you're right on that one. 12-8 map point. 4 chances to close for SemperFi, and Mindfreak really should have won that round. They were up by a 4-on-2. As great as the opposition is, this is a bridge too far for them. Keen taking Tux. Kicks things off down at the mid-cross and suicide. Shadiy's ready for extension of the CT forces. Swerzian wins both those fights, though. Buys another chance with all the tunnels cleared out. They'll get that information. Start focusing on the mid and long access, where A can still be the target. Savage making some noise, but a player up on short. Adjustment's good for Drogs, but damage is better for Savage. Zune, good to trade it. Maintain the man advantage. That's 2 players tagged on Mindfreak, but a 3-on-2 overall. At elbow watching from range, taps to the AK, again dishing out some, but Addict needs the kill above all else. Now DPR set to cross, smoke is awkward, got a gap to the left hand side of it. HE to try and reveal even more. Keen's cut down by Zune, is all on Addict now. Full on 1v3 clutch, bombs at least at his feet. He's got no more utility, got to take a fight at this crap gap, and the cross sees one, headshot. Zune goes falling, secondary player not known about. Leans up to plant the bomb on default.
Molly is going to cause him some problems. He's going to have to back away and do DPR. I was going to say June. I think my mind's just put DPR and Zune together. Kind of works though. June able to close that one out. The assisting damage coming through from Zune. It will keep Mindfreak in the fight. 12-9. Money's good enough, though, for SemperFi to scrounge together another buy here. So still a bit of an uphill battle for Mindfreak, and yet you get the sense that this is just unfortunately going to be one of those maps where they get so close, but they end up so far away.
I mean, look, for the second half at least, you can fulfill that minimum marker I set at the start of the day, is just try and look competitive. And on the CT side, they have done. You can obviously mark that down with the 9-0 that we saw from SemperFi at the start. Mindfreak taking on a very different caliber of opposition today, and we knew that coming in. I think they might have knew that coming into today as well. Done well to formulate the comeback. M4 involved first for Drox, gets 1 kill out of it. Swerzian forced to trade back. Good burst from Shadiy, can take him to return, but Tux's AWP is involved. The 3-on-2 to favour Mindfreak, man advantage maintained.
For now, we'll see what happens. Savage versus DPR, and one might look at that as a bit of an unnecessary push later on down the track here from DPR. Gives up the advantage. Keen is about to find one more.
Oh, okay.
Took a little bit of work to get there, but he did get it over the line in the end, and now it's on to Tux solo. With the AWP in hand, he's now been smoked off, and Keen's already on his merry way up into the A site. This is going to be a tough nut to crack for Tux, and that grenade is not going to make it any easier.
No, he's there. Headshot seen, tap from Savage will close it out. 13-9, nearly bottled there in the lower tunnels, but it comes together for SemperFi in the end. A wonderful comeback attempt from Mindfreak to show that they've still got some legs in it. Like you were saying earlier, it's not so much the Mindfreak badge as SemperFi are that good, and I think that CT side really proved it. They also proved it on their CT side as well. Again, a 10-2 half, always going to be difficult to come back from, and well, it didn't happen in the end, but they got very close. Losing their map pick at Dust2.
At least hope.
I mean, yeah, I think you give yourself some hope with the way that the second half of the last map went down. I think the concerning factor is just the level of playing time on this secondary map that you have to think about for Mindfreak. And you are right, we don't know if they've been putting any work in the back room. What I do know is that when SemperFi play this map, the only team they're losing to is Rooster. Everyone else, they're beating pretty handily. And yeah, they are somewhat not very good teams at the same time that they're winning against. But I am also just thinking about this from the perspective of just, look, you're losing to the teams that you probably should be losing to, or at least getting competed against by those kind of teams, and then everybody else you're beating pretty handily. Like we're talking 13-2s, 13-4s, 13-6s at best, or at worst rather, for SemperFi. So CT side may be Mindfreak's only hope, but it's not much hope to begin with. Pistol round going live quickly in. Drox is going to get forced away by utility. into the B bomb, so they're trying to plant down here. Hazard might be priority. Savage gets 2 kills out of it with the Glock to start the duel. He's set in from short, trying to hold off from Mindfreak, but SemperFi have all sorts of control. 3 players are low HP, might provide some options. DPR in particular back towards Monster, coming up with Swerzian credited with the kill, but Hazard takes that trade. The last man known, Shady, will end up with a double, and the pistol will be taken by SemperFi.
Yeah, can't be too disappointed by that one for SemperFi. They get everything that they would want out of it. The only thing of note really was that the molly to the toxic barrels did fizzle, so we just have to go back and have a look at that one to make sure they've got that down pat. Otherwise, the rest of that B-site hit works out quite nicely for SemperFi. Shoutouts to Savage for getting the nice 2k on the entry. And of course, SemperFi will be able to buy in here. Mindfreak unable to do so. So we'll be off to a very similar start as what we saw on Dust2, you'd think. And that will be SemperFi, again, on their merry way in toward the B-site.
Should be easy enough to take. DPR's good to really start things off with a kill on the USP, but everything else starts to fall apart. Decent damage being done on the HP markets for these rounds, so there's a couple of opportunities to get some damage against the T-side line on the economy. None of which are taken in these last couple of rounds, though. Mindfreak will be up towards the rifles, M4s. The Masters quickly brought into the fold. The 2-0 start for SemperFi is a positive one.
Might have been a bit of team damage in that one. It seemed like SemperFi got stuck in a bit of a traffic jam on that B-bomb side. Obviously, some nice shots in from the USPs as well, but not the end of the world for SemperFi. 2 very quick rounds out from them. I don't imagine that we're going to have another quick round out here as Mindfreak now find the guns in hand. They've got some util to try and slow things down. It is still a bit of a faster progression, though, from SemperFi straight up short. They're going to go into B again, and they're going to just keep trying to batter down that door. It has largely proved successful. Swerzian will be traded back eventually by Savage, which will confirm that fact. And again, we have a numbers advantage for SemperFi with the B side taken.
The king of part of the bomb when at his leisure. They've got 1 minute and 18 to do so, but he's going in for kills, and Savage is credited with a 6th on his tally so far in this map. DPR down, Tuxon 1 on 3. Might be low HP players in the fold here for SemperFi, but even this is a bit too much for Tux to handle. He realises that to hold back onto his M4 money is not great for Mindfreak, so keep the gun, keep something for the next, which will be otherwise a half by Eco. 3-0 start for SemperFi, and they're making quick work of these rounds. The B rushes are just a little bit too quick for Mindfreak to deal with. Even with the rifles, the utility sets and everything, just everything was well poised, well read, well placed, and those kills come in again to prove the firepower of the opposition.
Tux will be holding on to his M4 at least. That will be the sole representative as far as weaponry is concerned for Mindfreak in this round. A couple of pistol upgrades coming through here. But it seems like SemperFi are running no holds barred approach, let's say, to what we're getting on this Overpass T side. It's a bit of a different vibe to the Dust2. Dust2 was very, very slow, very controlled, very measured, very passive even on that T side from SemperFi. And we get the complete opposite out of the gates here on Overpass. So whether that just speaks to their comfort level on this map or if it's just a strategic choice, who really knows? But I think you can sort of see for yourself that it's kind of working, although Swerzian comes up with a really nice double. Again, those 5.7s, just always a talking point in rounds like these, and it's for those very moments. In saying that, though, SemperFi have read into the big stack on the top side of the map, and they're going to walk their way out onto B. And again, it'll be that dynamic duo of Addict and Hazard that will be doing the lion's share of the job here. Savage still kind of on the lurk.
A bomb part at least, and I mean it's not exactly the worst round in the world for Mindfreak either. They didn't go into this as a harsh eco. It was half-bought pistols, so there's Kevlar available for the picked-up rifle of Zune, and AK also for Drox. You're hurt by aim punch though, because he is actually without Kevlar. Going in quick, footsteps to be heard by the player over at Monster. Good flashbang in. Swerzian's going to get picked up. 5-7 started off the round. They've got the 2 kills dropped before it can even go any further. And from this point, CT start to consider the save. They haven't got any kits in play, so AK 2 M4s. And you want in 1 M4, so 2 rifles for free. A little bit of bonus firepower for Drox especially, so for an eco for a half bite, it's actually not that bad. Gives you a lot of potential going into the next round with the buy-up, looking strong and true for Mindfreak. To deal with that pacing, though, because that was the one round where they finally beat SemperFi at their own game.
Well, back into another gun round, and this time Tux has got the AWP. We sort of felt like Dust2 started to shift at that point where Mindfreak did actually get the AWP online. It wasn't just purely because of that weapon, but Tux definitely had a couple of moments. Keep his eyes open in this round as he might have some offenses heading in his direction, courtesy of shadiy. It's going to be a bit more of a passive approach from shadiy, actually, as he does wait for Savage, and now they'll start to explore top con together. And even bathrooms as well.
Not fully for DPR here. He'll fall back towards the long entrance. Bit wary of shadiy in his position. I mean, already his teammates have taken a ton of damage in the early round. Rocks on 14, Tux at 49. All per out towards mid and the A-bomb site. At least not seeing anything. Back to that passive T-side default that we saw from SemperFi during that Dust2. Not looking to engage, just looking to play the time. Set up the execution. Which B seems to be the most likely target. Bombs outside a monster and only 40 seconds to rotate. So it's rotate now or commit. It seems to be the choice to commit.
Flash is going to go through, but largely ineffective. That shot as well, missed by Keen somehow. I don't know how that's connected or not connected. The incense really causing a problem here for SemperFi. They're going to be up against that clock. 20 seconds left to go. They need some entries, and they're getting them from Addict. But no more just yet. 2 from Addict. Is it enough is my question. With 13 seconds left, they're going to be able to walk that bomb up onto the site. By the looks of things, the smoke will provide just enough cover. And the plant does go down for SemperFi, but that was touch and go for a moment. Good kill for Savage. In fact, a double. And it's now just Tux left alive, and SemperFi swindle another.
Oh, Addict and Savage swindle another in my eyes, because it was all down to them. They were so stalled out. Incendiaries and utility time at the right moments for Mindfreak just to stop SemperFi. The pressure was against them. Addict getting 2 kills out of that monster entry at low HP for the second one as well. Really had no business winning that fight at the player over at Pillar, and Addict just to add that killing blow. The final touches, the frags on the post plant. Big round from those two, because without their efforts, I have a feeling that Mindfreak would have won that round. You know, SemperFi picking into this map. More of a punish pick than anything else, and you can feel a little bit of that discomfort with the T-side defaults, which has been a bit of a trend, to be fair, across that first map as well. Time and stalling and come back to bite them. Almost did in this one as well, but they do get the 5-0 start. Mindfreak bring back their weapons again. Bonuses of the save and the relieved investment in the economy state. Flourish for another rifle buyer. Can they turn it into a round, though? That's the most important thing.
I'm not sure about this from Tux. Keen waiting on the line. Tux is going to have to get a very nice timing, and he does not. So you can see they're trying. Zoom does well to pick up hazr. That kind of alerts SemperFi to the fact that there's some aggression here in short water. And so SemperFi are going to slow things down toward that B site as a result. Just a smoke at the exit of Con. And they'll regroup. Forces still heading in the direction of B. They're going to set themselves up outside a monster. Let shadiy get up to his own devices on the top side of the map. See if he can cause a bit of a ruckus. Maybe pull or rotate somewhere. And then I imagine going to B late. Smoke at the top of monster will slow things down. But SemperFi have got a lot of ground to cover, so they're going to have to start to get a bit of a wriggle on. They'll work their way into short water. And it seems like Mindfreak don't really have much of an idea of what SemperFi are up to either, so this really could just come down to a scissors, paper, rock kind of a game, and who decides to go to the right place or not.
Utility down from Alec to sell him on a fake towards B, and they're going to buy it. Hook, line, and sinker. Only one man to defend, so two players rotate up. Swazian, defend out here at the divider. 2 kills found. Third man on the corner. AWP does land. And they've also got Shadiy pushing up to the site. Bomb pond needs to be secured and prioritized. Shadiy loses his life, and Keen, no time left on it. Have to fall back out, take drops with him on the way out of the round, but the round will go the way of Mindfreak.
Yeah, Shadiy needed that kill, didn't he? Even then, I think Keen had time to plant in the smoke if he wanted it. He decided to sit that plant with 5 seconds on the clock. Obviously a 1v3, a pretty tough ask for him, so he just opts to take the AWP through into the next round. Yeah, it started so well for SemperFi, but this is where it fell apart. That needs to be traded a little bit more effectively. So Mindfreak get their 1, but hasn't necessarily dug them out of the hole just yet. They've got economic problems, so they still need to do a little bit more work. They need to back that round up.
The start for Mindfreak and much earlier into this map than it was in the previous. Shadiy alone out here towards top of mid and birthday party area. 2 players going to extend out towards long. Will DPR get checked? He'll check to position, lose a majority of his HP there. Swerzian also took damage elsewhere. Positive start again to SemperFi. No kills and opens just yet. The AWPer does get caught off guard though. At it coming up from T-Con. He wasn't expecting that.
Another one. And that's another one. Very unexpected. Oh, hazr. Gets himself 2 before he falls. And a couple of players getting caught off there by Mindfreak's standards, and so a pretty easy round for SemperFi. They go up 6-1 and sort of brush off that last round like it was nothing. That's going to be quite problematic for Mindfreak too, considering money is low. They are trying to put together what they can. It's just going to be a couple of M4s by the looks of things soon with the 5-7. Always a scary prospect, but definitely a lackluster buy in this round for Mindfreak.
Confident response from the contrarians. One that should set them up for the half win at this stage. 7-1. What they're looking for, 2 rifles to resist, one of which does find success. Savage got off towards the mid-access. Long players. A little bit of noise with the AWP that fired, I assume spotting Swerzian, but unable to get the kill against him. Utility will go over, indicating an A play. They've not got much more support around it. Hazard's lurking in mid. That might stall some attention if you can find a player beyond that smoke, which a possible opportunity. Really all down to this long take. Shadiy with the first man forward. Some impact out, struggling to get the kills, and the lineup works better for DPR. AWPer also caught it close by Swerzian. hazr can finally strike, but too little too late. 30 seconds to recover the round, and you'll need a 1v5 clutch for it. Mindfreak will find their counter and steal exactly what they needed at a round like this. Not expected, but a welcome addition to their scoreline. See whether hazr can get any more damage done against them. Secondary player will fall. Everyone else is separated. Individual fights to take.
Uh-oh.
Another one of them, but Tux will still find the trade. So, uh-oh for a moment, yes. They keep most of the AK staying out of CT hands, but the round will still go the way of Mindfreak.
Yeah, but it has just got a little bit more expensive than you'd like there for Mindfreak, right? I was about to say, you know, that round has come at the perfect time for Mindfreak, just when they needed to restore some of that economic, what's the word? I guess happiness. Definitely not the word I was looking for, but we'll go with it for now. And then, you know, you're kind of back to square one, having lost those extra couple of players at the hands of hazr. Again, backs against the wall for Mindfreak right now. Prosperity was the word I was looking for now that I have had some time to think. But 6-2 the scoreline here for Mindfreak, and it's certainly far from that. No prosperity to be had here. So Tux gonna look to get aggressive into short water and see if he can maybe get Mindfreak off on the right foot. In the end, it's going to go in the other direction. Keen having quite a lot of success in these 1v1 duels against Tux so far.
Damage done to Savage elsewhere. Hazard's found engagement on the site itself, two of them in fact. Keen's AWP not required because Addict going to get involved in place of Hazard. DPR can now look for exits. It's a 1-on-5. So quick the adjustments there on the T-side line, and so quick the kills that come in for them.
Bomb has been planted.
Lightning fast entries and executions. It's pure breed accuracy. What more can you do if you're Mindfreak? It's back to that question we were asking on Dust 2. Like, what more can you do? And in the end, there really isn't much. 7-2 now for SemperFi. Moments where Mindfreak have looked bright and brilliant. But to find the consistent answers to the problems they face in this dominant team, the undoing of their best of three in the end. DPR will fall. And SemperFi now start to focus on running away with this game.
Yeah, right back into the swing of things. That's the problem for Mindfreak. Putting a couple of rounds together here and there, but not in a row, and they can't get any semblance of control of this half. And 7 rounds on the T side already looking pretty good for SemperFi. Looks like they're going to throw in one of these faster plays, which is not going to work out so kindly for them. That grenade has really softened the target, but the entries are just connected so cleanly from SemperFi. Mindfreak did everything right, really, with the util, but there's no shots going in the right direction, and that's another round for SemperFi.
I think that round there amplifies the statement, the pen is mightier than the sword, because the HE might have done a lot of damage, but the flashbang blinded both players on the defensive, and the kills came super easy for SemperFi as a result. Zune and Drox didn't have a clue what was going on. All because they couldn't see a single thing, so... And with that, these last 3 players have got to hold on to their weapons. It was a forced buy to begin with. You can see the Deagle from Swerzian with no money in reserve. Just hold on to the AWP and the M4 because it'll be much more valuable to you in the next. It'll be 8-2 for SemperFi in the meantime. And again, case in point as to why we rate this team so highly in the OCE scene.
Quite a pacifist round, really. Only the 2 deaths. Everyone else walking away from it. Mindfreak doing their best to preserve that money as much as possible. I don't know that it's necessarily much of a factor at this point anymore. SemperFi not having too much difficulty, regardless of where the money is situated.
Again, the nades onto the CT side. Up to the boost spot, Swerzian. Found by Hazard. He's read it so well. He even caught drops in that one. Shots from Tux is at least good to trade, but it's still a man advantage, and still SemperFi are they've been very good at maintaining their trades and maintaining their advantages. 4 on 3. Mindfreak just hunker down to their respective positions. Leave it really on DPR to defend A. The other 2 back towards B. Hope to God they don't go towards A, and if they do, it might have to be a back off and play for retake or just save straight up. I mean, it's round 11, so I'd like to see something more coming towards the way of the CT side at the tail end of this half. That economy also something to consider, and there just isn't a lot of it in reserve.
Another reserved approach from SemperFi after getting that opening advantage. Happy to slow the round down a little bit now, starting to turn their attention toward the A site. Has prompted a rotation in from Mindfreak. They've got a couple of players up here already and a fast flank coming through as well. Zune unable to really do enough though. Gets himself just the one, but DPR and Tuck striking and a leg shot onto Keen. He's bold enough to go up on top of Dice. He looks to take the fight against Tux, but he misses the shot, and Mindfreak will take a chaotic round. Nice clutch from Tux. And that's a third at least.
Oh, chaos is the right way to describe it. Just very quickly, those trades went back and forth and turned into that 1v1. Unfortunate for Keen, trying to scope in a little bit closer at the wrong moment, though, and overcooked that flick by a country mile. As we say, a third for the boys of Mindfreak, and 9-3 is the best case scenario for SemperFi at the moment. 8-4 if Mindfreak can manage it. Zoom's gone down again. Another entry for hazr here towards short. A second one lines up. He's on 1 point of health. Savage traded by Tux. Keensorp is ready to receive him, though. An extension that is not going to come his way. Instead, hazr feeds himself to the beast, and it's a 3-on-3. Secondary player seen there. Shadiy out towards mid. Tux is tagged. DPR is also tagged. Shady's isolated from CT contact. Shoulder bait shot connects from Keen on the second phase. He holds his nerve. DPR's down. Tux is low. That HE not placed. No, it actually does land against him. I thought it was off with the stairs, but no. Swerzian 1-on-3 now for Mindfreak.
Yeah, just a series of unfortunate events in connector there. DPR, he really wanted to get out of there. I don't know if he maybe didn't spot Keen on the shoulder peak, but the wide swing definitely was not it. So now Swerzian, as you say, has to get this one done solo, and SemperFi are happy to let that timer tick away. Keen's going to go exploring into B, and he thinks he's got an opening there, but hasn't called for the rotate just yet. Now they're on their way. That's going to be a good call as well. Swerzian up here towards A, so bomb plan's going to go down on B, and I don't see Swerzian having a very good time of this retake with not a lot of time on his hands, because he's going to have to work his way down from A before he can even start thinking about this retake. And critically, he's got 3 players to find, which is going to take quite a bit of time. That's a good headshot or 2. What is that? Swerzian already finds himself a quick 2-piece. SemperFi maybe just disrespecting him a little bit. Gets it down to the 1v1. Addict should still be able to get this one sorted, but Swerzian's done a good job. Unfortunately, not good enough. 9-3 will be the scoreline at the end of the first half.
Sometimes you gotta pray for a victory. Yeah, I'm overzealous when I'm thinking about the cash flow. I never had no handouts, just came natural. I've been testing so much, all these wrestlers nice. All these different situations that I've been through. I seen pain trying to creep in through the window, but now I'm sliding through the hood in a benzo. You gotta separate yourself just to elevate. I keep some drink in my cup to see through the hate. Sometimes on the road to glory, you gotta press the brakes. I got a lesson plan for all my past mistakes. I swear I'm proud of all my best and my worst days. Proud of all my feet when I touch the ground. Front of 8 at Beijing, man, they know the sound. I know I made mistakes, but my mama proud. Fans scream my lyrics out in the background. They ain't know me then, but I'm hot now. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. Life down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. When you down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. I'm faced with a lot of different choices these days. Do a rock and roll Lex account of Blueface. The whole world know my name off a mixtape. I still got the same brothers since 6th grade. G-Wagon red seats, we on Biscayne. Trips to the Florida Keys, we imported these. Thanking God God for the life he afforded me. All this jewelry on my body, I could light the hood. I need a brown skinned chick just like Megan Good. Holding up every promise that I ever made. Music in the background, it's a serenade. Been rapping 10 years, boy, this ain't a phase. I paid dues, paid rent, and I stayed the same. I had teardrops running down my face. I've been through a lot, I had real pain. But thank God, cause we really on the better days. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. When you down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. When you down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. What's a life without sacrifice?
Another monstrous comeback to ask out of Mindfreak. 6 to the good this time, not quite the 8 of the previous, but still into the T side where they haven't shown much in previous affairs. Need to deliver a pretty big pistol, a pretty big return, and a pretty big comeback all the same. SemperFi on their map pick, now into home territory of their own. The pistols, the CT side. Contact from Shady instantly in against DPR. Maybe had a bit of a quiet game compared to the first one, but he's drawn first blood out and now looks to hunker down the A bomb site, which is where the T's are attacking.
Well, they're not going too quick about it. Slow and steady progression here for Mindfreak. Addict's going to dump his util before he takes a fight, just to try to buy a bit more space on the side. Shady, a few whiffs there, but Addict is doing his job nicely. Gets himself a kill and a double. And survives as well, most importantly, which is going to be a real thorn in the side of Mindfreak here. They do get the bomb plant down, but SemperFi take the CT pistol and will get themselves to double digits. So, again, somewhat heading in that same direction as what Dust2 was at this point. It's looking pretty good for SemperFi, but it's not to say that Mindfreak can't cause a bit of a ruckus here again in the second half.
Yeah, for those of you that missed it on that first map, we saw the pistol win on the T side for SemperFi, and then it turned into a 6-round streak that gave Mindfreak a bit more of an opportunity to turn a comeback over. They started to look rather decent at that, and well, if they can steal the second round here again, then that would be their best bet. Bomb plant bonus does help them in that regard. They've got the Galil, they've got the Tech 9s, and Acted, but also for Swerzian. Not the best of buys, but it'll have to do. Well, the argument can also be made that 12-3 would be scoreline we'd see off the back of a round like this. Hazard, another entry, and he's been getting loads of entry frags, 18 and 8. He's become the impact man of Overpass. Damn, they're getting another one for Savage. Addict strikes on Swerzian elsewhere. Seeing jump faces to spot information and spotting where Tux is in particular. Doesn't quite get the kill against him, but can do damage towards Drox. Take him from beyond the wood wall. Knew that he was there in Connector. 2v5, and this is nowhere near a steal for Mindfreak. This should be 11-3 for SemperFi. And probably the end of this series. They might even go fright damage this. Yep. The perfect round. All players unscathed. And well and truly on their way to victory.
Yeah, rough spot to be in now for Mindfreak. No money. Gonna have to force buy pistol and armor. Which, as we've just seen, wasn't entirely successful in the last round either. So it doesn't fill you with a huge amount of confidence that they're going to be able to get this one done. A couple of players on the top side of the map, Keen and Shady, going to play aggressively at Fountain. Not really seeing too much, which will mean these B players are pretty aware. Nice spray control from Savage, gets himself 2, but Hazard's spray goes a little bit awry. So there's a bit of a concern here for SemperFi. Addict will get aggressive up over the top of that smoke and helped out very nicely by Shady. He was in real trouble if Swerzian was able to wrap around the backside of that smoke. Now a flash in his face. He'll turn away from that one nicely. And DPR just completely neglects to check Addict's position. The plan does go down in that meanwhile, but for all that's going to really do for Tux, unfortunately. 12-3. SemperFi happy enough with the proceedings. They lose a couple of guns there, but the round's more important. And again, Mindfreak with their backs against the wall, and this time for the series.
9 map and match points for SemperFi. Unless the money will stabilize for a true rifle buy from the Mindfreak camp, but need to turn that buy into a truly successful round. Nothing short of perfection will be required from them to bring this series back. And even then, it's still no guarantee. 9 in a row for overtime, let alone map and series wins. AKs across 3 players, 2 Galils out. The AWP in for Keen, revealing himself towards top mid for a blind shot beyond that smoke at T-Con. Fast into the short control for the T side. The access from shadiy. Is he going to push forward off that smoke and try and find an angle? He may well do so indeed. Drox is going to go down. Doesn't stick around for the second player though. Falls back in towards Con. Hazr goes 1-for-1 with DPR and Zune. Execution going to get set in towards his monster angle with Zune down on the side. Bombs on his way forward. Shadiy catches Swerzian in the end. And Tux left alone in a 1 versus 4. Can only go so far as 1 kill himself. 13-3 for SemperFi. 2-0 in the series as expected. Dominating their way through this bracket and in to the grand finals of the ESL Challenger League Cup number 3.
Yeah, very much as expected, like you say. At least we got one good map there from Mindfreak, the Dust2. I think they kind of let themselves down in that first half a little bit. You know, had they picked up 1 or 2 more rounds, that actually could have been a very, very competitive map, and it might have even been a map that they could have won.